Good morning, Year 6. I hope you're all safe and well. For today's PSHE lesson, we're going to be talking about change. And we're going to be discussing ways that we can manage our feelings around change, as well as understanding that change is part of life. And it's something that we will have to deal with throughout our lives. So before we begin, making sure that we're calm and we're in a place we're ready to think about the world around us. I want you to start by just making sure you're sat in a chair, you're sat up straight, head high. You may wish to look at the picture shown on screen, or you may prefer to just close your eyes and imagine yourself in one of your favourite places. Whatever you choose to do, I want you to focus on taking some big, deep breaths. And whilst you're doing that, I want you to tell yourself, I am worthy. I am worth something. I am important. I am enough. I am loved. I believe in myself. I have the power to create change. Today is going to be a great day. I have flaws, but I'm still fabulous. I'm strong. I'm calm. I'm courageous. I'm going to remove the words I am worthy from the screen. And I want you to imagine that as those words are lifted from the screen, those words enter you. And you can feel those words in you. I am worthy. Excellent. So it's really important that we use positive affirmations. So that's that we talk to ourselves in a positive way. We need to tell ourselves all the things that we can do, because there's so many things that we are capable of. So you'll see on the screen, I have some of the affirmations, some that we've just used, but some others that we didn't. And I want you to go and stand in front of a mirror and tell yourself, I forgive myself. I'm strong. I am in charge of me. I am kind to myself. Just take a moment to just stand there or sit down, look in the mirror and talk to yourself in a positive way. So for today's lesson, as I said, we're going to be talking about change. And you may have realised it or you may not have realised it, but already, even at such a young age, you're already experts on change. You might have remembered the seasons changing every year. That's part of the changes that we experience as human beings and that we're going to experience forever. You might have remember moving to a new classroom. So that's a change that you've experienced, and you'll probably remember some of your emotions about changing class, moving from your Year 5 classrooms to your Year 6 classrooms. And I know some of you stayed in your Year 5 classrooms in Year 6, so you might remember moving from your Year 4 classrooms to your Year 5 classrooms. And soon you'll be moving from your Year 6 classrooms to your Year 7 classrooms. You'll remember your first day at school. For some of you, it might have been more recent if you've just moved to our school. For some of you, your first day at school would have been back in reception when you just started school. Think about how you felt around that time. Whether you were scared, nervous, excited, and how you feel now about going to secondary school. Some of you might have moved house over the years. And think about how you felt about that. Were you excited to move to a new house? To maybe have a bigger house or a smaller house? How did you feel around that change? You'll remember when Mr. Kerbal started we had change because we had a new head teacher. What were your expectations? What changes did you anticipate, and how did you feel about that? You'll remember starting, and for some of you, excluding Darwin class, you'll remember having a new teacher in year 6. Some of you might have felt really excited about having a new teacher. Even though you'd miss your old teachers, you might have felt excited to see what comes next. Or you might have felt anxious or worried. And now, most recently, as well as having to adapt to changes like making new friends, most recently you've also had to adapt to a change of schooling and learning at home. And for some of you that might be a welcome change. You might love learning at home. And for some of you that might not be. But whatever you're feeling regarding change, it's okay. Some of us love change, and some of us are a bit more apprehensive. That's because as you're getting older, you have a better understanding of what change might entail. For those of you who are worried about change, it might be because you're frightened in case you lose something that you've got now, or maybe you're worried that change will make things harder than they are now. For those of you that are excited about change, maybe you're excited about the new adventures that you're going to go on, or maybe you're just intrigued and you just can't wait to see what will come next. Maybe you're just curious. We're going to go through some scenarios, and as we go through them, I want you to think about how these changes make you feel. So, do these changes make you feel really scared? Or do they make you feel really happy and excited? Or maybe you feel somewhere in the middle. As I read them out, and as they pop up on the screen, I want you to just place your finger on how, somewhere on our line, from feeling really sad to really excited, place your finger on the line to say how that change makes you feel. Moving to a new house in the same area. Does that make you feel scared, excited, or somewhere in between? Maybe you're looking forward to having a new room. Maybe you're scared because you won't live next door to your best friend. Or maybe you're somewhere in between. Returning to year 6 in the next few days. So some of you will be returning to school, some of you might not be, and some of you might be a maybe. But if you were to return to school, how would you feel? Moving the furniture around in your bedroom. How would that make you feel? So your bedroom wouldn't be the same, your bed wouldn't be in the same place, or your wardrobe. How would that make you feel? Going to secondary school. What feelings do you have around that? Making new friends. Does that excite you? Does that terrify you? And what are your fears? If you're afraid, what are you afraid of? And if you're excited, what are you excited? What are you so excited about? Traveling to and from school without an adult. So for lots of you, this will be the case. Those of you that maybe have been used to being picked up and dropped to school will now be traveling to school without an adult. What are your feelings around that when you go to secondary school? Meeting new teachers. Finding your new classrooms. So in secondary school, you have your tutor group, and that's your main classroom. But then throughout the day, for each subject, you move from classroom to classroom. How do you feel about moving from class to class throughout the day? Do you have worries that maybe you'll get lost? Or are you excited because then at least you keep moving and you don't always have the same teacher and you're learning all these different subjects? So now you've thought about how these different scenarios make you feel. Have a look at the scenario that scared you the most? Which one was it? And just write down your feelings around that scenario and why you're so scared. So in your piece of paper, I'd like you to just write down that scenario, just like a mind map. And then around it, just write down what you're afraid of. What is it that you're worried about? And then I want you to do the same with the scenario that made you most excited. What is it that you're most looking forward to? Then let's think about the scenario shown on screen. Imagine you're moving to a new school and you don't know anyone in your New Year group. And as they all come from different schools, you feel lonely and shy. What could you do? What will be the same? What will be different? What questions could you ask? How will you feel? How could you start a conversation with someone you don't know? And what might help you remember for next time? I want you to pause the video here and just write down some ideas of what you might do in this situation. Or even better, if you have somebody next to you that you could talk to, it'd be really, really good. If you don't, then just write down your feelings. But if you do, it's much better to be able to talk to somebody about what you might do in this situation. Excellent. So some of the ideas, there is no right or wrong answer. Everybody will respond to situations differently. But as an idea, what you could do is maybe start a conversation. Find something that maybe you have in common with somebody else and maybe start a conversation. Maybe ask somebody what school they went to. Ask them if they have any knowledge of the subject that you're learning. Start a conversation. And I know sometimes that can seem a bit scary because we don't know how the other person responds. But what is it that we're afraid of? That they might not respond how we want them to? Is that such a bad thing? If they don't, then we'll know for next time. We'll survive and we'll know for next time and we'll move on. And it won't be the end of the world. So we could just spark up a conversation. Or maybe we could find someone that maybe we do know in the class. Maybe find somebody who, not that we know because we don't know anyone there yet, but maybe find someone that maybe we recognise or we've seen before and maybe start the conversation from there. Maybe your teacher might have an activity which helps you get to know each other. What's a good idea as well is in those situations is get to know the different people in the class. Before you quickly assign yourself to a particular friendship group, get to know and observe and watch and see who maybe you have the most things in common with. Remember, however you're feeling, whether you're worried by change or excited by change or somewhere in between, all of these feelings are perfectly normal and there's no right or wrong way to feel. You will be fine. But what changes can you expect when you go to secondary school? Well, you can expect to have to bring all your own equipment to school. I know some of you do that already, but you'll definitely have to make sure you do that in secondary school. For some of you, you can expect that you may travel to and from school alone. You can expect to make new friends. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to forget your old friends. It means that you'll just have even more friends. So you can expect to make new friends, and you will make new friends. You can expect to have a number of teachers. You can expect to have to read a timetable to get to your lessons and to know which lessons you have each day, and so that you know what you need to bring to school each day. You can expect to learn new subjects that you haven't learnt before in primary school. You can expect to move classrooms throughout the day. You can expect to feel more responsible. So you are responsible for finding your class. You're responsible for getting yourself to school. You're responsible for making sure that you have all your equipment ready for the day. Nobody else, you. So the best way to prepare yourself and to be responsible is to make sure you got your things ready from the day before. Make sure you've looked at your timetable. You've done everything you're supposed to do. You get your homework done on the same day. And then you'll feel like you're the boss of yourself. You can expect to make choices. So you will have to make choices. You'll have to make choices throughout secondary school. And especially in those first few weeks, you're going to have to make choices. You will choose whether you want to be that hardworking child that tries their best and pushes themselves and chooses friends that are similar, or whether you choose to be recognised as a child that doesn't try that hard and maybe doesn't make the right choices or choose the right friends. So you all have to make choices. But we know and we trust that all of you will make the right choices. If you are feeling really, really worried about anything, but especially as we're getting ready to transition to secondary school, if you are feeling worried, then you can speak to an adult that you trust. You might want to speak to a sibling who's been through this or who's going through secondary school. You can email us, your teachers, your worries, and we will reply, or we can even call you, whichever you prefer. You could look at the secondary school's website and try to familiarise yourself with the building layout and the school's routines. And if thinking about change makes you feel anxious, you could practice mindfulness. So focusing on your own breathing and finding a place of enjoyment in your mind until you've calmed yourself down. I hope our discussion around change today has helped. And I hope even if you're feeling worried, you realise that eventually you realise that change is perfectly normal. Something that we'll all go throughout our lives constantly. And sometimes the only thing that sometimes we're worried by with change is just a fear of the unknown. We don't know enough about what's to come, and so sometimes that can seem scary, but trust us, you'll be fine. Have a great day.